lot to think about.
Yeah, yeah. And you know, I live over here in Sweetgrass County. It is drop dead gorgeous here where I live.
Oh, no, Muscle Shoals County's much better.
Well, yeah, I'm
At least in God's eyes.
Yes, at least in Kansas.
And where I just want to say on the wind thing, you know, where I live, when the wind farms in Stillwater County came in, one night I was out here, and all of a sudden I saw these bright red lights, you know, 10 miles away, and I'm like, what the heck is that? Get rid of that, I don't want that. You know?
Right.
And it was, you know, 10 miles away. But, you know, you get used to it, and then I also feel like until we get that perfect magic bullet energy source, we're kind of stuck with these intermediate steps of wind and solar, and, you know, until we get to the innovation where, you know, we have this wonderful invisible energy source that nobody minds at all. You know?
So we finally get the nuclear.
Well, you know,
Yeah, I mean, even Rosebud County's looking at nuclear.
Yeah.
And they have a coal plant. So, and then, you know, gentlemen, I think in the future we will get there, you know. But right now we're kind of in this intermediate zone.
Okay.
Oh, we'll get
all right,
there.
well, you know, it's a big issue. I don't think we'll ever solve it, but yeah, I'm not sure we helped you at all other than,
No,
No, you did. And it's a pleasure talking with you. I really appreciate you taking the time.
no problem.
but
So,
fossil,
by the way, I did get letters from Wheatland County, all your neighbors,
yeah,
Golden Valley
yeah.
and Rosebud. They all sent me letters, and I just sent them along to the, you know, to our members of Congress and said, here, you know, these guys want them, so keep them.
Yeah.
That's all you can do.
Yeah.
Well, you're right about fossil fuels. I've been looking it up. Fossil fuels being subsidized at a rate of $13 million a minute. Oil, gas, and coal management was $7 million in support in 22. UN calls for the end of a $7 trillion fossil fuel subsidy.
Yeah.
$7 trillion. Well, I'd have to
Yeah.
look at. I'm gonna get more details on that.
Yeah, it's you know, I think it's time to level the playing field, and I think that's one of the reasons for these tax credits. But I also, if you have another minute, I just wanted to
Sure.
mention something. Okay, so,
He starts at
I have friends
1:30.
who are solar installers, they put
But then
rooftop
we
solar
have
on
Teresa
people's houses
too.
and stuff.
Okay.
And their tax credit may go away, and that's hundreds of companies in Montana, and those guys, they may go out of business, so I'm also rooting for them, because,
Yeah.
you know, those families, they're supporting their families, they're supporting other people, they're hiring people to, you know, go and put solar panels on people's roofs who want them. And, they're small businesses, and I think, you know, we gotta protect them too.
Well, there's comes a point when businesses have to make money without a subsidy, but I don't know when that happens.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, we gotta go, we got another meeting, so
Okay,
Well, maybe talk some other time, appreciate it. Thank you.
nice
thank
talking
you
to
very
you.
much.
All right, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Yes, you too, thanks. All right.
Thanks, bye.
Oh, what was her name?
Alex, her name is Alex Mon.
Oh, representative from.
But wasn't she with Bill Milton's?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. she
Muscle
was
Shoals
on the-
County.
A representative from what?
From Sweetgrass County.
Sweetgrass
Oh.
County.
I've talked to her before about the fair. I think.
That's fine, that's all I need, okay,
And she's
no problem.
I have it on my phone.
She's certainly green it. Ooh,
Oh, this is all wrong.
is that a resignation letter?
Good,
you wanting one?
We heard. Whoops, don't want to start any rumors or anything. Well, let's go through it, sir.
So basically what I did is I made this the same as, how many cows over here? As,
Oh, I don't have mine.
would you like one?
No, I'll go get, no, I don't have my glasses.
Oh,
I don't need them.
this is just to compare a little bit closer to apples.
Yeah.
So if you look at the end page there, I have the email thing that is part of Morrison Merrill's. That's what their charge is. The social engineering thing is included in there, so there's nothing extra. The one thing that I did, these guys don't do, they do one site visit a month.
Yeah,
We estimated, it depends on the month, anywhere from 6 to 12 visits that Morrison Merrily currently does. You know, when we have something that they need to be up
but
here
they
for.
charge for some of those visits.
No,
Well, when they put that in, I signed a claim for $740.
that's because we're buying a new
Ah,
piece of
we
equipment.
bought that, okay.
Right.
That explains it.
Right.
Never,
Yeah, basically,
And
any special project they have like that
Yeah.
is cost plus or whatever.
Right.
makes sense.
We're gonna be paying somebody to come from Helena. They charge $75 an hour driving time and $125 while they're here. So I've estimated 7, you know, just an average 7 at 1 hour on site. That comes to $1,325 a month.
You think they'd be up here 7 times a month?
Yeah, I do. As
Well,
far as-
Morrison Merrily is here a lot.
Yeah, we screw up a lot.
I
I
mean,
was unaware of that.
oh gosh, on the phone, whatever.
Not on the
Not on the phone,
Oh.
but just here.
Here in the office.
Yeah, at least once a month.
Well, even if you're, let's say that you're half.
Even half, even if you take that out.
Out,
yeah.
Even if you take it out, where their thing falls apart is that the cloud backup. I
Yeah,
did talk to her and she brought it down from 40 cents a gigabyte to 30. So
Oh, nice.
at the current backup that we have, it's just under 16 terabytes, so that'd be $4,800 a month.
right there.
Now,
There's no way around that.
well, there is, we could buy another machine that does our backups here, but really you need 2 of them because you should have them in different buildings.
Right.
Now, let's,
And then we would be paying a monthly service to whatever the program is for that. But, I mean, there are ways to mitigate that.
but let's kind of run that to the ground, because you can say, well, just in 3 months at 4,800, you might be able to pay for having your backup. And I'm like, dreams, what do you think that would cost?
It would probably take 5 or 6 months.
Okay, but you could still, well, so that justifies the expense, but not really when, what are we paying Morrison Merrily for that? Nothing, really? Right, or-
Well, it's part
It
of
is,
their-
they're charged per server, not by the gigabyte. So it's in their
Yeah,
deal.
but when you compare that, can you do an apples to apples to say, well, we're gonna spend $4,800 here, what are we gonna charge with Morrison Merrily? I'm wondering if you could look at Morrison Merrily and say, we don't need you to do that.
It's, I don't have the exact numbers, but if I remember right, it was $75 per device per month. So
Yeah.
$75 times the 6 servers that we have.
Sounds right.
Times 6, not times 60.
Right, 6. Because it's per server, because we're only backing up servers, we don't back up workstations.
Right.
Okay, well, I'm thinking you could apply that logic here and say, well, it might be worth investing in our, only if it pencils out with Morrison Merrily, who does it cheaper.
But the other thing that we're getting to with Morrison Merrily service, and I'm sure we could if we had our own backup service, is we have data integrity scans coming in and coming out. So it's keeping an eye on that, and it also does antivirus on there too. Whereas I don't know what a on-site one would be. I'm sure that we could probably get something like that too. I mean, that is definitely a possibility.
Well, that's $5,400 a year, not a month though, I mean, divided by 12. It's 450, there's no comparison. But,
And we have no cap. According to their thing, it's unlimited. What Morrison Merrily does, they get so much per device that they hook up to, but it's all pooled for them. So every county, every business that they do, that total amount is pooled, so they have an ungodly amount of free space. And someday, if they ever encroached on that, but they aren't even using a third of the free space that they're allowed.
what do you think it would cost us to do our own backup? I mean, provide this backup?
Well,
Who's gonna do it?
Well, it could be automated, and, you know, we would be paying.
If that's the only thing throwing these guys out, if that's the main thing throwing these guys out of the,
That's one of the main things, and then the site visits is the other thing.
Yeah.
well, I think you might be able to save them maybe 2 or 3 times a month. I mean, there is gonna be something, you know, at 7, maybe some months 7, but,
Well, some months, we counted 12.
okay, all right, well, you know better than I do.
And I don't know most of the times that they're up there, you know, when they comes up, a lot of times,
A lot of times they'll just pop in.
John Roberts is working in the basement, he came up for something, and then he'll stop and see if anybody else
Yeah.
needs anything while he's here. Candy at the road department had him out there a lot. I don't know.
Let me ask you this in another way. Do you think it's worth us looking into backing up a little bit? We're not gonna save a lot with Morris Merrily, but it might make this other proposal very competitive.
I can take a peek and see
But
what,
if you, and also practical, feasible, smart, stupid, you know, I'm not smart enough, but this is a really good analysis, and this is, you've jumped out. Like,
Yeah.
hey, this is the big item, and if you took this out of this proposal, and you took it out of Morris and Merrill's, although their proposal would drop next to nothing. Yeah, I mean, it would have very little impact on theirs, but it might make this more competitive unless taking that on is just a dumb move or a stupid risk.
it was a pain in the butt when we did it. We used to do it because Mid Rivers charged per gigabyte for internet data. So running this back and forth across the internet was gonna cost us thousands, because of how they did it. But now that we're unlimited, you know, we have a certain threshold thing, we're unlimited. That's, as soon as that happened, we jumped to the cloud back, or back up. So,
Well, let me
but
ask
I
you,
can take a peek.
you can take a look, but in your opinion, is that even worth looking at?
It was a pain because what would happen is we would, any power bump or something, we'd knock half of it offline. So we'd end up going there, but I can definitely look for,
Well, let's say you're right on this, so you got 8610 minus 4800. That's 3810. It's a lot cheaper than $6,000 that Morris and Merrill's.
How many power bumps did we have last year? Northwest Energy gives us power bumps all the time, don't they?
and we've got decent power stuff there, but I can certainly come up with
If you think it's worth
a
it.
price.
You know, yeah, okay, because right now, this is telling you apples to apples. And then whether it's half or that 1325, you know, even you could add that.
Even if you took that out, we're still,
Yeah, but if you took the 4800 out, but then it's gonna cost you how much
Yeah. that's
in
pretty-
sort of a capital investment and then how much to maintain it, you gotta kinda offset that. But that's a huge cost here. I would be
then-
surprised if other counties were like, they're probably not looking at it this fine. And they're not realizing they're gonna pay more than this. You know, so they give us this quote that adds up to 3,087, but they're only assuming $400 because they don't know what our backup is, right? They're just saying, it's this as a base plus X per,
well, we could make some decisions too. We're backing up the dash cam and body cam video because we think that that's important to
I
have
think
backed
it,
up.
I think it is.
And
So are they gonna have, so this is questions that I have, being an employee who relies on my computer. Are we gonna have to be changing everything or would Mako have our system and know our system and know what the heck's going on with our system and?
for the main user, there isn't gonna be a lot of difference.
It's not gonna be seamless.
We'll
I don't want any
Uninstall.
more changes.
uninstall their clients and they'll install the new ones on there. So they'll function a little bit differently, but the same effective thing for the users should be there.
Why do these guys think it's only worth $400 a month for us?
They had us for 1 terabyte of
Okay.
data.
So they would be charging, and is that, I'm gonna be cynical here. Is that kind of a deceptive quote? Is,
Doesn't seem that
when we're,
She was surprised when I told her what size it was.
okay, and that's because we're backing up the sheriff's
Yeah,
body cams. Okay,
and that's our big deal, and we felt before, and I still do, that that's very important stuff to have.
And 911 and all that's all of it, right?
No, 911's a completely
Separate?
different thing.
Okay.
Cause I mean, it takes, good lord, from the time a traffic stop or something happens until it goes to court can be a while.
Mhm.
And if we had a problem and all of a sudden we didn't have that,
no, I think it's
Video, I
something we
think.
gotta do, I think.
but I can do some hunting around and see what a local backup would
Yeah,
cost.
what it costs to buy a cloud,
Hmm.
how much are clouds though?
Well, it depends on how many terabytes.
It's a memory, you want, yeah,
Yeah,
Big
and
cloud.
that's the big deal.
it's a memory.
Probably the reason, and talking to John Thomas, I'm like, why the heck is that so much different?
Yeah,
Probably because Mako's deal isn't as big.
Yeah, they don't
Yeah.
have the
They don't have-
terabytes to bank and.
Yeah, they don't have the pooling capability that Morrison Merrily does. And that's,
maybe someday they will, but
maybe they will,
keep
but
building.
right now they don't. So that's something that needs to be in our decision, so.
And if it's close, you know, since we have no issues with Morrison Merrill's
No.
service,
No,
I don't think it's worth the risk.
I'm almost scared.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean it.
The other thing that we have that's nice with Morrison Merrily, they do, Lewistown, they do a few things up in Lewistown. So John Thomas has stopped by when I've had a problem on his way back from Lewistown, you know?
And also his parents live right over here.
Yeah,
And if he's visiting,
but I mean, you know,
Yeah.
we get the stop because he's driving through, you know? So we do see a lot of that, you know?
we get
Same
the
with,
benefit of
same
that.
with John Roberts, right? I mean,
Yeah, I mean, John Roberts was up in Plentywood the other
Yeah.
day and they came down this way and
Oh, yeah.
stopped and fixed, I think, was it yours? No, it was somebody in here
was it
that
her?
was having a problem, so.
Was maybe Justine getting set up?
Well, it might have been, it was a problem that he's just like, oh, I just decided that I'd make the loop around and. Yeah, cause they're doing Plentywood now, they just switched over to Plentywood a while back ago, so. So I can certainly come up with a
But all- yeah,
comparative backup plan.
yeah,
And the idea there is, if just that straight math worked,
Mm-hmm.
you would save enough to say, well, we gotta go with Mako because it's cheaper, even though we might spend this. There's a little bit of thinking that goes into it. I'm just nervous about the loss of continuity of services and stuff like that. That, to
That's a
me,
big thing, because it doesn't matter who it is, who
Right.
you're going to, they could be the best people in the world. There's gonna be a bump, there's gonna be quite a bit of bumps in
Oh,
the
yeah.
transition process.
no doubt.
except Morse Merrily have approached sort of a threshold of pain. It's like, this is a lot of money, you know.
Oh, I understand.
And it just is what it is, but, yeah, if you can do that.
Morrison
that'd be great.
Merrill's too, theirs is gonna change somewhat too, it's gonna come down a little bit, cause there's a few things that,
He
there's
said
just,
that.
there's a server in there that we're decommissioning before this happens that we don't need.
Yeah.
I put it in this one just so we're comparing apples to apples.
Well,
But understand that that is, and then the email, whatever thing, the new thing he's talking about.
Going to .gov?
I forget what it was.
Well, we
But-
did talk about it.
It's on here, and you guys haven't made a decision if that's something you wanna add or not.
oh,
But it's on both of them,
Okay,
so it's comparative. I want it to be as close to comparative. The only thing that is not on Mako's is the management of the the sheriff's office laptops. Morrison Merrily is paying for that now, and obviously it's being billed. That will just go to here, and Thad was on, he's heading to or across the state, so he didn't have access to look it up to see what that was. But that's not on here, but it should be about the same, because we have the account, Morrison Merrily is just paying it for us.
Okay,
And then there would be
I got you.
some.
It'd be a pass through
It's not,
that,
it would be a difference, this will go up a little bit,
Yeah.
but it's not as significant as some of the others.
well, speaking, before I forget, so that's a good path, and actually, that's kind of the power of this, is maybe this is saying, hey, if we were to do our own backup, we'd have to hire somebody to maintain it, right? But,
And Morrison Merrily or Mako will do that.
okay,
I mean,
it's just another server.
Yep. it would be
Okay.
another server and then another charge they would add to this.
Okay.
Hmm.
All right.
We're getting close.
Now, and before I forget, what was it that Reed was telling us we needed to get?
Oh, an owl,
An owl.
Owl.
Was such a thing?
owl camera,
It's just a little,
like the
Yeah.
city has.
Little device, yeah.
The city's got?
it would replace this.
Mm-hmm.
Well, would it mean we don't need
Not.
that?
Need what?
That camera right there?
We would replace them both.
I don't, it is,
Depends
It
on
would
how you
take
can
some-
access the data.
it would take some effort, because you would have to save it to something, then you'd have to convert it, and then move it.
I thought it was
Bonnie
like,
D
He's
can
up
do
for
that.
that.
She likes change.
Yeah,
She
so
was
that's
just
what,
stated
She didn't
that.
have-
we did have the discussion about having something similar to that.
Okay,
I mean,
all right.
not the owl, but this is a lot easier to,
yeah, it's
to
been,
post your
the only,
stuff, so.
the main malfunction I have with it is that if I forget on the day I'm back, then I can only do 10 in one day on
Sections,
YouTube,
yeah.
so it's like I gotta,
yeah.
I wasn't here Monday, I forgot Tuesday, so I had Wednesday,
But that isn't gonna change,
yeah.
no matter what we do, it's just the process of
That's a
getting it.
YouTube limitation, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And if we pay more, we can,
No, it's all right.
that's what I mean. Pay more, you can do anything you
You
want.
have the world.
Well, we could,
I just, our
Have that.
recommendation to you, Gary Lynn needs a new computer.
It is on, it
It
is on
is,
the
because
list.
she still has Lotus on her.
Well, they had us add those,
Not on mine.
well, way back when, because, accounting was still using Lotus.
I know, but they haven't been using Lotus since 2012.
Yeah. So Lotus probably doesn't run that great on her computer.
It doesn't, but it's there, and I think it messes her up.
Yeah, but no, it's gonna be, hers is one of the ones that's listed too.
Because now, the only thing we really needed hers for was because when we did our, from DIS, our digitizing our surveys, they gave us discs. So I told them, well, we don't need discs no more, we need,
Yeah. And we've got plenty of disc readers that you can hook up if you need it,
yeah,
so,
okay,
but,
well, we might, I don't know.
yeah, that's not too big of a
All
problem.
right. I
we
don't
also
know.
voted to kick Veronica loose on the assessment for the website,
Good.
so. And then before I forget, Monady, maybe you can call Morrison Merrily and get this project, it should be a special project of getting this put there or this there set up so that we can get the, because honestly, I cannot read who's attending these meetings or anything.
So you just wanna replace,
We're
Put
gonna,
that
and I wanna sit,
monitor there,
well, yeah,
and
we're
that
gonna
one
move
over there.
this one here, and then we'll put that one
Something more.
roughly where that Roundup Montana thing
We're
is.
gonna take the rag off the wall.
okay,
We're
But-
putting something else.
But I know if we wait for Justin and you guys to do it,
I'll just put on, Jim and I did this, so
Yeah, you
we'll
did.
just come up and, cause I have the mount for that already.
all right, if you can, but, I mean, if you can't get it on your plate, cause we,
It might just be after the 4th though, cause the
Oh.
4th is kinda busy right now.
We really want
We're
it.
trying to get ready. But yeah, cause when you guys said you were doing things different, we kinda stopped
No, if we can do this, because honestly, I cannot see,
We think it'd be a lot better with
Yeah.
that big one there and that little one over there.
But you want that more moved towards the center?
well, no, this
This
one right here,
That one,
right
but-
smack
That now,
behind you.
Yeah.
but we're gonna put that,
Yeah, kind of,
Right.
maybe the same height or whatever, but, and then this one over there, and that way these people can see their.
we'll probably raise it just a little bit because that's gonna hang down lower.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not a bonk my head, because I'm gonna be the one that does
Not,
that.
not a problem.
You or Sean or Ben,
But yeah, we'll keep it up high enough that it's,
Yeah.
it should be out of everybody's way, but
well, that's good.
Right between that plug in and that plug. Yeah.
okay, so I will, like I said, John Thomas, I think he's got some stuff with his kids today, some medical stuff, so he said he wasn't gonna be in the office. But he'll be a
Give you a feel for what that.
good reference as to what to use.
Yeah.
I know what we used before gave us headaches. It would just stop working.
Yeah, and I don't want us to do anything stupid or that we wind
What
up
kind you got?
placing
Boy,
somebody.
should we
But it's-
choose now?
It's,
Well, that came out wrong.
yeah,
That puts a burden on us
Oops,
that we
I'm sorry.
can't realistically manage. You
I
know.
was trying
Yeah.
to steal that.
oh, well, you.
I'm just playing. It's not
It's warm Diet Pepsi, so if you really want it.
So funny.
Okay, so I will work on that.
All right, thank you for this. This is,
Yeah, you're doing a good job
and
comparing them.
we're happy with, other than the price, but you know, we're getting really good feedback on this Mako group that's doing it too, that they're pretty darn good, so.
But you're doing a more,
Yeah, it's,
you're doing a better comparison, I think.
and one of the things too is they are really lining up people in the western part of the state
Yeah,
where they're close
mhm,
to.
of course.
And we've gotten kind of used to saying, just come and fix it. And, you know, we're so close and, you know, there's, like you say, family and stuff that they are up in the area and they stop, that
Yeah,
is kind of an added benefit, I guess, so.
Yeah, this.
well, we got
are
time
happy.
because they're gonna keep us under contract.
Right,
Yeah.
right,
So, we're not like they're gonna end it.
right. So I'll get some ideas, a couple different ideas
Yeah,
for backup and.
it's
do
good
some-
to look into this stuff.
It is.
I mean, it's taxpayer money, so you need to really be looking at.
Yeah, we're trying to get a raise for the commissioners.
Yeah, that's where all this, whatever we save is going into our salary.
This is being recorded.
Just as most of,
You guys in Bonneville, right?
Yeah, yeah, well,
Yeah, you forgot to throw me in.
there's a trickle down theory there. Also, you know that your recommendation is gonna weigh really heavy with this.
yes.
Well, I appreciate that. Like I said, I've put my heart into this, even though my heart wasn't into it. But it's good to find, and talking to whatever her name is, Katie? Carol, I forget what it is. Great, Carly, that's it. She's been
Darcy.
awesome.
Yeah.
She's been awesome to deal with.
Yeah.
And, you know, when I told her about the deal, she got it down to 30 cents gigabyte,
Yeah.
you know, and that's not an insignificant savings, I mean, it is,
That's
but
cool.
it's still quite a bit of money.
Well, at least she didn't hang up on you.
No,
Well,
she-
I'm thinking other counties will have the same issue, but only if they wanna back up their.
Yeah,
And
and a lot of it depends on what you're backing up.
Yes.
A lot of, we used to just back up our critical data for the
Yeah.
longest time, because backup, even an on-site backup, was so expensive.
Right.
I mean, it was expensive to get, you know, the duplicate hard drives and to have it in 2 different places and whatnot, so we were really careful about what we were doing. But over the last 10 years, I mean, memory's become cheap, storage space has become a lot cheaper, so. I just, like I say, what's the chances of us losing the sheriff's office copies of everything? And it looks bad when you're telling a jury, well, we had it, but
It's
it's
gone.
gone. Yeah. So,
Did you save it?
yeah, and they've got a plan where they're not saving like, you know, the last 100 years worth.
Yeah,
They're only saving, I think,
yeah, just